The engine is still
For launch, GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GMC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T. Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hi, guys. Hi, all my creepy little weirdos. Welcome again to another episode of Horror History and Haunting. Tonight, we are at the Horror History and Haunting Library, which means it's a little bit more of a low-key podcast, but it's an exceptional podcast for you to pop in if you're new. Tonight, for the past 3 weeks, we've been exploring Spencer's Ghost, The Guardian, and tonight we're actually interviewing the author. Tonight's guest is not just a horror author. He's someone whose story began long before the pages were ever written. For the past 3 weeks, we've been reading Spencer's Ghost, The Guardian live, uncovering a haunting rooted in childhood experiences that blur the line between imagination and the unexplained. Our spotlight author of the month has taken real life events from his youth and just transformed them into a chilling paranormal novel that explores memory, fear, protection, and what it means to be watched from the other side. Please join me in welcoming our author spotlight, the author behind Spencer's Ghost the Guardian, Al Cooley. Welcome, sir.
Hello, Christina. How you doing?
I know. We're like yin and yang. I'm all energy and loud, and he's all like, "Hello, darling.
Hello.
How you doing?"
Hey, how you doing?
But if you don't know, the book that we're talking about is this one. I'm going to see if my camera will like me. Spencer's Ghost, The Guardian. A.L. Cooley. Check it out, buy it. We only got to, I think, in the live readings, chapter 16. And there's so much more to find out and experience past 16. I was hoping that we get to meet Boxcar. You don't get to meet Boxcar. You
Oh
don't
no, yeah.
get to meet Bonnie, which Bonnie's my favorite character. So there's still plenty to be, read and experience beyond the 3F episode podcast. So make sure you buy your copy at Amazon. Look in the description. The links are there now.
Yeah. It's only like a couple bucks for Kindle, and
Right?
I think they dropped the price of the book. I'm not really sure. They keep, Amazon goes up and down in their prices, so.
Right. Now, you've said Spencer's Ghost is based on events from your childhood. Can you tell us what exactly happened and what inspired those things in your book?
Well, I'm Lee Spencer in the book, so I would say most of the book, 90% is true. There was some stuff that was naturally added by the ghost writers and editors, and chapters taken out, and so I was. So the book is I mean, writing that book and going back to 1967, the day we moved into the house. Keep in mind, I'm 12 years old, man. It's like I didn't believe in ghosts. I didn't believe in spirits, or I didn't know what a ghost was, except for Casper the Friendly Ghost. I really didn't know.
Yeah, because it
Any of
really
that.
wasn't the public phenomenon it is now, the paranormal stuff.
Right.
Like back then, you got to think, in my town period, even the 80s and 90s, that was something that people didn't openly discuss. Because like immediately you're like, are you nuts? Like, what do you mean? Like, there's no such thing as that stuff. You're just being, weird or paranoid or
You
something's
need
wrong
help.
with you.
I'm
Or
gonna tell you what.
Lulu.
If you mention ghosts or spirits, or they're going to lock you up, man. I mean, there's no ifs, buts, nothing about that. I mean, so the one night, I'll just say before you even get into the story, imagine this, man. I mean, my sister and I are about the same age, my younger brother, and if you're laying in bed at night, it's about midnight, and you've got a pounding on your wall with a fist inside your wall, a pounding that knocks off the pictures off your wall. Footsteps coming up your steps. I mean, I don't care if you're 50, 40, whatever, how old you are. That's going to scare the shit out of you.
Terrifying.
But a 12-year-old boy, I mean, and I remember telling my sister, we got to call the police, because and she says, wait, hold on.
What are you going to tell them?
What are you going to when they get here? What are you going to say?
Right.
I mean, really, what are you going to say? A ghost is messing with us? I mean, so yeah, that started it all. Was that day pulling up in the driveway the very first day and seeing her in the window upstairs. It kickstarted right there. Right from there on, and I was always labeled the instigator, the one that's starting it all, the one that's talking my brother into this or my sister into that. And
I'm sure your mom is a sweet lady, but because I've read the book twice already, just saying, and then I've read it, live. So there were parts like I love your mom, but I wanted to smack her.
Right. I mean, how do you think I felt? Because every time if I said, "Mom, this is how," and I'm grounded. And I said on another podcast, I mean, I might have come off, thinking my mom's a bitch. She wasn't. I mean,
I'm sure she's a lovely person,
she would do anything to protect us kids. I mean, I know that uh, she would die for us. I mean, she's a great, fantastic mother. As far as having your back on something like that, no, no, no. That's why my number one advocate in the whole book was my grandma Pearl.
Mhm.
So she was my go-to, man. I had my best friend Joseph's in the book, and he had my back. Imagine he's never seen the ghost the whole time. The whole time I lived in the house,
Mhm.
and so he would believe my stories. He would believe what's going on because I'm seeing it. My sister's seeing it. My uncles are seeing it. My other friends seeing it.
He believed that you believed.
He believed in me. He had my back,
Mhm.
and I really, to this day, we're still good friends. We play in a band together, still to this day, and so yeah. I mean, I look back on those days, and a lot like when my grandmother said they come in threes. I
Mhm.
really
I've
did.
always heard that too.
I hated that saying because I knew that when somebody died, there's two more coming,
Yep.
and it did. So so I'm looking back on a lot of these people in the book are gone. So it was tough writing that book because I'm going back to a different era. I'm going
Mhm.
back to a time.
Yeah, I can't
Uh,
imagine because you're basically in some ways ripping off a Band-Aid
right.
because,
Hmm.
nobody believed you back then. You were kinda on I mean, you had Cheryl and you had your friends, your little clique of friends, but
Hmm.
it's not like the adults were listening around you until something really big happened to them and they're like, "Wait a minute." Like, one uncle goes tossing being tossed across the lawn and, like, lands on his back,
Right, right.
you know?
I mean, how do you explain that?
Exactly.
Here's a
Like
guy who was my uncle's friend. We called him Buck in the book. He's about. I'm not exaggerating when I say he's about 7 foot tall and about 400, at least 400 pounds. Biggest man you probably ever think of in your life. And but a gentle giant, right?
mhm.
And for him to be tossed off the back porch,
That
imagine you
takes
have
immense force.
maybe 100-foot backyard, and he's tossed in the middle of that yard. So my grandmother, she pointed out, I'm thinking, well, maybe grandma he walked there and was acting out or whatever. And she
Mhm.
said, no, if you look, there's no feet. If it's snowing, there's no footprints to take you to where he was thrown. So he's not going to
Yeah,
jump
how
50
did he
feet.
get there? He can't j yeah,
I
I
mean,
see
stuff
your
like that. I
point.
mean, how do you, and if I go to my mother and tell her this, or if they went to my mother, I'm still grounded because I put that in their head. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody else said something happened at house, I'm the
It was
one
always you got
getting
blamed.
blamed.
Yeah, I
Right.
got that in the book. I was like,
Yeah.
"Poor
Yeah.
Lee."
But like my son-in-law was telling me this the other day. Did this really happen? Did that really happen? Well, yes, it did. I mean, it's hard to explain, especially that many things to one person. But I also say that all those events happened in one house, so it didn't keep following me.
Well,
You
that's
know,
good.
so that was, as I say, a one and done for me anyway. But but the second book goes on from that one. It kind of picks up from almost that time era and takes you up into 2026. So it's going to take you into Lee Spencer being
An
70 years
adult.
old, or so it's kind of sad in a way because you're watching some of these people just that you could known in the book are no longer here. You know,
Mhm.
and that's what's sad to me. 'Cause, looking back and writing some of those chapters, I had to walk away from it for like a week or so because like the one where my friend took his own life on the railroad tracks, that I went to school with. I
Mhm.
had to walk away from that because it opened up old
Old
wounds.
wounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm reliving that time all over again. And so to somebody else, says, "Oh, they don't believe," and "Oh, that couldn't happen," And on my podcast, that's how I can relate to so many guests because I can't say you're lying or you're crazy or because you could do that to me. I mean,
Exactly.
uh,
That's how I feel. I'm like, I'm never gonna be that person. I'm like, I don't care what people say. Like, I know people because people have some stories that are really out there. But when you talk to somebody that experienced it, that is their truth, man. And it's
mhm,
not my job to be like, no, you're wrong. You're lying. You imagined it. That's not
mhm,
that's their truth and that's their trauma. And that's the stuff they're dealing with. Like, it's not my place to sit on my high horse and try to judge them and be like, no, like, no,
Right.
Bigfoot have brown hair, not white hair. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's silly.
Yeah, you start to stereotyping people,
Exactly.
and then
Exactly.
or Bigfoot has to be this like this, or he has to be like. Well, there's different types of stories with Bigfoot. There's different types of stories with aliens, with hybrids.
Exactly.
I mean, I've had it all on the show, and I've learned a lot in 8 years. 8 years now, because I keep in mind I was kind of like one sided because everybody has their own opinion or the way of they were brought up on certain things. But I I have to really change. I did. I have changed my ways a lot on, uh, especially when I say, "Do you think you can move a spirit on?"
Mm,
That's a huge question
that
because
is.
because I've had my first guest tell me, What are you moving the spirit onto, man?" Well, my thinking is you move it on to heaven or hell. I mean, that's the way I was raised. You're
Mhm.
going to go to heaven when you die, or you're going to go to hell. There's no in between. There's no flip flop, and you're not going to go here. Man, I don't like it. I'm going to go here. It don't work that way.
I
You're
think.
judged. But when I turned Catholic, they had a whole different. When I married my
Mhm.
wife, you had to be Catholic and be married to Catholic church. So there's a lot of things I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I wasn't taught that way. But anyway, when you die in the Catholics, it's like you got the purgatory. So
Mhm.
how long how long does purgatory last? And because the way I was thinking is God already knows where you're going when you get that last breath. That's how I thought. So when I had that first guest say, wh- to me, since there is no heaven or hell, because I'm an atheist, what do you're actually killing that spirit, man. So when you kill that spirit, or you're trying to move it on, you're going to take it to another realm. No,
Mhm.
maybe that
Well, and
realm is
that's the big mystery. Nobody
right.
knows.
Nobody knows. No.
And I am a firm believer, especially when you get into, you know, after death phenomenon and stuff like that. I think a lot of it is based on the person's personal belief. I think a lot of things is tied into our consciousness that we don't even realize. And we have more power and authority in our lives than we give ourselves credit for. That's why now it's a whole big thing about manifesting and stuff, because in a lot of ways, like psychologically, we are trained in our brain because we are a pleasure centered um result kind of, that's how we're wired.
Hmm.
Like, we think that, like, it's like a cause and effect type thing. And I think that because we're so pleasure centered, we forget that there might be stuff. Simply because we're raised a certain way doesn't mean that other people that are raised completely different are wrong. So I think it has a lot to do with when we pass on, like, what our internal struggles are, our beliefs, you know, play a part into whatever visions or things that happen after we die. Now, whether or not we go on to heaven or hell, that I think it's completely based on the traditions and the faith that individual person believes in.
Hmm. You're right. It's not for me to judge. I don't,
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
you or anybody else. I mean, and I think that's the problem with this whole planet is we all want to get in everybody else's business. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? We all want to make what it's none of your business. So uh, if you believe one way, that's fine. I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Mhm.
I just hope if you have a firm belief in your religion or no religion, I mean that's you. You know. Uh, so I grew. I think that way on this podcast, and getting and maybe opening my eyes a little more on other people's perspectives. You know, I
Yeah.
want to say hello to Adam.
Yeah,
He's
he's waiting patiently.
yeah
Hi,
yeah yeah
Adam.
yeah
Yeah, we got a
yeah yeah
couple messages here.
yeah
And
because
Adam's like, "Gotta get excited by Christina's energy." Thank you, Adam. I
oh
know
yeah
I'm a lot sometimes.
she
You
has
have to
some
turn
energy,
the
right,
volume
Adam?
down.
She has some energy. Some energy.
Hello.
Well, I
Why
have
to
seen
me?
you've been on the last few shows, and I appreciate that, Adam.
He's
Yeah.
great. He's
Mhm.
very big supporter. Sir, what do you think about the books of Fyodor Dostoevsky? Did I say that right?
I have not read those.
Okay.
So,
So that's news to me too.
I will look it up. I will look it up.
Yeah,
So
most
this, yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Michelle said, "Good evening." Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Michelle.
Ohio Paracryptids. Hi, welcome.
Ohio. Okay. There you
And
go.
then Adam's loving these conversations. Yeah, I do too. Like that's what we're all about. And that's what's great about his book too is like believe it or not, even though it's majority of paranormal, it's I wouldn't technically classify it as horror because it's not like a general jump scare, gore. It's not like that. It's like a real life like coming of age. I got a group of friends going through high school. This is what's happening in my life. It's just happens to be the time that I end up in this haunted house and I'm dealing with all this other stuff on the side.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
I could have
it
very easily put like, his hand went in his chest and pulled out his heart, and he looked at the
right,
heart before he
right.
died, the blood dripping down. I don't want to go there. I wanted to make it like, a storytelling book,
Mhm.
and that's why Amazon really wanted me to target the kiddies out there, the children, and I'm thinking it's a little bit past that, but I can
Mhm.
understand that because it's written from a 12-year-old's eyes.
Mhm.
So I can understand that because if you look at some of the language and stuff, it is like a teenager
Yeah,
writing
it's a
this book.
little bit above like a teenage level,
Yeah.
but I think it's a good level if it's something like if you can change the language as you read it, but I think it would be if you have that paranormal family and you were trying to introduce like the younger ones to like what paranormal is like
Mhm.
that kind of thing, it's a good stepping stone into it because it's not super super scary where you're like, oh my god, like blood and gore and you're like,
Mhm.
but it still has those nuances of like coming of age, being becoming a young adult, liking girls, having to deal with all that on top of
And these adventures didn't
rumors
just
and
stop.
gossip.
Right. These adventures didn't just stop in the house. That's why the book takes you on the meat and boxcar.
Mhm.
Because when we hopped this train, we were hopping this train to go protest the Vietnam War at Kent State because they just killed 4 people at the Kent State University. So we wanted to go there and protest, right?
Mhm.
So we jumped this train, but we went to Kent, all right, but not Kent, New York, or Kent, Ohio. We went to Kent, New York. So it's like, man, this train ain't slowing down. You got, you
This
got
is
like
taking a lot longer than it should
you
be.
got me and my 2 buddies on this chain, sweating bullets. Like we've been on this train for like 6 hours. Like what the hell, man? Uh,
Yeah,
Kent's not far away.
and just to kind of clarify to the audience what we're talking about, like back in the day, there wasn't security like there is nowadays.
No.
And the older generations, like I'm Gen X, Al's a boomer, like we didn't have as many security checks and stuff like that to worry about. So we got away with a lot more,
Hmm.
especially as a young person.
Yeah,
And during the boomer era, I hate to use the word boomer, but that's what
that's
they
all
say.
right.
Uh, a lot of people did jump trains, and what they would do is wait for like they get done with the laps with checking the tracks and everything, and then they would jump on one of the cars and stash and just ride the train to the next town or whatever. It was a common thing, just like hitchhiking. Hitchhiking was a big thing. Everybody did it at one point. But then, they discovered the dangers of it and then they
Yeah.
stopped people doing it and stuff like that. But in the book, him and his friends, because these a tragedy happened where 4 students were murdered because of Vietnam.
Hmm.
And there was a big protest that happened at Kent University.
Hmm.
And yeah, and Al, which Lee in the book, and 2 of his friends jumped train
I
and
do want to specify that the one friend, his dad worked at that train yard.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's in the book.
we knew where this train was going. So it's not
You
like
checked the manifest. You saw
we
Kent and
checked
you
it. We
just
knew it
went
was
with
going to
it.
Kent, but he didn't check it well enough. But
And
when you run into a person in New York that's a ghost,
mhm.
I mean, and it's not just me. I mean, if it was just my story, I'd be like, okay, when there was a long trip and maybe it's a little daisy, but No, man, it was like me and the other two guys were given a beverage and sandwiches from Boxcar Willie. Sorry, Boxcar back Billy Boxcar Baxter. There it is.
Yeah, Billy
That's hard to say.
Boxcar
Billy
Baxter.
Boxcar Baxter. So yeah, and we find out later we're trying to explain to the authorities because they thought we were just a bunch of thugs that were
Up to
vandalizing their
shenanigans.
stealing stuff or something. What we want that train yard in New York? Come on, man. So and plus, what are you doing interrogating us without our parents that were juveniles?
Right. I actually thought that when I was reading. I'm like, where's the parents? And then I'm like, wait a minute though. This is the 70s and like stuff is not
Right.
as, checked as it is nowadays. So I'm
And I
like,
said, wait a
yeah.
minute. I mean, Billy Boxcar, he Boxcar, he gave us these, he gave us that, and then they're all looking at us like we're crazy and like what the hell. And after they left the room, I asked the secretary sitting at the desk, she says she brought back a picture of Boxcar, Billy, and I was like, oh, that's him. Well, she said he passed away like 30 years ago. I'm like,
Nuh-uh, because he was just here. What do you
no,
mean?
no. So that was the three of us. I mean, this time period, I'm telling you, that's why I call it Spencer's Ghost, the Guardian. I feel like I have a guardian angel, and I've had it for till now. I mean, so I don't know who it is. I can't tell you who it is, uh, but I know I have one because I've been protected over and over and over. When I had my heart attack, I was in the Cleveland Clinic and it was triple bypass. I'm heading into the light. You hear these stories about heading into the light. It's warm. It
Mhm.
was all of that, and then it was like just wasn't my time yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And when that light, when I put my eyes up, that light is no longer that light of the drive-in theater that I was dreaming that I was at. It's the light above my head in the emergency room. So I was like given it a second chance again, and it's just over and over and over. I mean, all these blessings I've been given, and I don't know. I was never hurt in that house. I was never attacked by the spirit of the ghost. Others of my family were two uncles, a friend, uh, and it was pretty violent. So the second book's going to take you more into the violent stage. I mean, the first book leads you up to when we moved out, but
Mhm.
there's so many more questions answered in that second book.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
because I don't want to give away too much because I want people to actually, buy it and read it for themselves. But yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions about certain people in the book and, a boxcar and Miss Pickleface.
yeah,
And there's even aliens and UFOs in this book.
there is.
I'm not going to tell you how it's related because you got to read it. But
Got to
there
read
is
it.
aliens and UFOs and paranormal. There's just
And
a lot.
what was I'm not going to tell the story, but you know what about those UFOs and those aliens? I mean, about the black eyed kids. I mean, because my friend who was the one having connection with these aliens, he kept telling me you got to meet my girlfriend. I don't even know if I put that in a book. Got to meet my
Mm,
girlfriend. I'm like, I don't remember her, but I think real quick I seen her, and she had like these big black eyes, and I'm like, like black
mm.
pupils instead of blue or brown. I mean, they're pitch black, and it's very spooky looking. And she just kind of like vanished into the other room. You go in the other room, she's gone. So it's like
Ooh.
I think I look back on that, and a lot of the stuff he was telling me from like these black eyed kids or these aliens uh, is what I have people come on my show today talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, wow, deja vu, you know. It takes me back. So I can relate to a lot of people's stories on this show, and it's not just in Ohio or West Virginia or
It's all over
it's
the world.
everywhere. I just had a guest
Yeah.
on the other day, the other night, from Canada, from England, from Scotland, and it's the same thing. I mean,
Yep.
stories are the same. People are different, but
Well, that's it, exactly. We were talking before about the religious, differences in religion, but there's still even as differences in religion that you could be polar opposites, but there's still commonalities even in those because
mhm.
like the young Adrias, the Great Flood, the Noah type of myth, like it's throughout so many different levels of religious texts, that it's hard to not like it almost seems silly to deny that there isn't a connection between them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And when I wrote that story, one of the stories in the book about when we were shot at in the van in the garage, that night when I was writing that chapter, I woke up in a dead sweat, man, because I could smell the gun. I could smell the gun smoke. You know, I could smell it. So it's like, I heard a blast in my dream. I heard a blast waking up, and then smelling that gun smoke. That so I had to walk away again for like a. So it's like it's still with me, you know. And it was hard to write, but kind of I don't know how to if you can understand that, but it was hard to write, but easy to write. It's easy because I lived the stories.
mhm,
It was hard to write because so much
brought it back up for you.
memories. Some weren't good. I mean, some were like my friend taking his life and going through that, and so yeah, it was different. It was different time.
Now, do you feel like writing the book, because you were talking about how it opened wounds and sometimes you had to step away, but when you step away from it, like when it's said and done, and like for example, like we're talking about it now, do you feel like writing it gave you a certain degree of closure when it
It
comes
did.
to those losses
It
and
did.
things?
I had some one person asked me, yeah, why did it take you so long to write the book? 50 years to write a book. I mean, some people can like write 50 books in 3 years. I
Right.
get one. So I said, I'm working on a sequel. He says, oh my God, I mean, you're 7 years old. You don't have another 50 years. I said, well, thanks, man. It should be out next year. I mean, so it's kind of flowing pretty good right now. I'm thinking back of the stories. I knew the people that moved in our house when we moved out in 1972. So I knew the people that moved in the house, and then I knew the people years later that lived in the house. So I even got to go back into that house at one point. That was to me terrifying. So it's going to be in the second book. I mean, it's going to be only a two-parter. I'm not going to do. I was thought about three parts, but I don't want to make a lot of stuff up.
Right.
So I want it to be. So whether you believe it or not, at least I know the stories. I know what happened. I lived it.
So, as a fan, you're going to go back to the house at some point
Mhm.
in book 2.
Right.
Now, does the current occupants of the house in book 2, are they starting to experience the same crazy stuff that you were? Is that why you
Worse.
go back?
It's
Oh, it's
worse.
worse.
It's worse.
Wow.
It's much worse. Matter of fact, I'll just say that I'm doing some investigation right now, and I'm hoping I get my investigation done before I get done with this book. Because it's hard. Because the house burnt down in 2005. So I still go by that house to this day. I went by yesterday. I live about 17 miles from the house. So I drove back, and I was in town, and I drove by the property. I still get that feeling. It's hard to it's hard to put into words. It's I don't have anxiety, but I feel like I have anxiety when I'm driving by there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel the spirit there.
Mm-hmm. You still feel
I
that
feel it. I
lingering.
still feel, and even I had my brother-in-law with me a couple of years ago in the car, and he knows all about the stories, and I didn't tell him where the house was at or nothing. And we were getting close. I didn't tell him that the house even burned down yet. We're getting close, and he says, I can't be here. I can't be here." So
Wow.
he even got the willies, it's like, and I'm going to take this year. I'm going to take a psychic with me.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Uh,
Like, do you have plans on doing like an actual, like with paranormal investigators or something to go?
I do, because
Yeah, that would be
I
awesome.
what I'm looking at now, because since the house burnt down in 2005, what I heard was there's a person in that house that died in that house fire. So I'm what I'm
Oh,
doing now is, since they lost all the records to this house, I have to do my own research through the library, which I'm going back to, and you can go through the old phone books and find an address and find out who lived in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm back to 1927. So I'm now, once I get these names of this house, now I can go and look through the fish, through the people's genealogy.
Genealogy.
Yeah.
That's a big word. I'll help you with that one. I stumble with my words too, so I don't mind.
Yeah. So I'm going back trying to get the history of the people. So, but I did on this one night. I called, as you know, I called the girl in the house Alice.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ghost girl I got associated with, connected with. I was looking back on the history in 1928, and the young lady that lived in the house, her name was Alice.
Oh wow, that's
So
wild.
now is her daughter, because she would have been an older woman, but is her daughter, because she had a little girl, is her daughter's name Alice? Did the daughter die in the house? Because the landlord, when he moved out, said, I can still remember this, I think it's in the first book, that a little girl died in that house. So, because he said the house was extremely haunted when my mother says that she was glad, she liked living there, but she said the kids hated it because they claimed the house was haunted, and so he told my mother, ma'am, it is. I was surprised she stayed as long as she did. I can still remember that like yesterday.
Oh
So,
wow.
but my mother's thinking is he's as crazy as you are, So
Yeah, I can see that.
right.
Yeah, Adam made a comment. He was like, "Yeah, what a spooky story." And then he said, "Yes, the young Adrias was said to have ended Atlantis," which I've heard that too. It had something to do with
Yeah.
Atlantis falling. And
Yeah.
Michelle's like, "Really interesting tonight. Thank you, Michelle."
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I mean, it was a time indeed, and it's surprising when I get invited to speak at some of these conferences or group meetings. Or
Conventions.
I went to one a couple of years ago, and it was for nuns. I was on a retirement home for nuns, and I'm thinking, do I really belong here with this book? I mean, I don't feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And oh my God, they love me. I was like, they love the paranormal. I mean, and they had a bunch of stories that I really have to dig into, like from the Vatican.
Oh,
From
wow.
the basement in the Vatican. There's
The
like a whole
vault.
new other city underneath the Vatican.
Mhm.
I've been hearing about that, but hearing their stories, uh, that was
That would be wild.
that was probably one of my best places I went to talk. You also find at some places when you speak. I remember at a library one time, and most people will some will they'll agree with you. They've had their own experiences and this and that. Then you'll have to say the other one says, "No, I'll believe in a ghost when it kicks me in the ass." So, and I said, "Well, it has." So you have those, but those people are the ones that stick around the longest. Like I think they have unanswered questions
Mhm.
that they want to say no, but they want to say okay, maybe, because they've had their own experiences that they
Right.
don't want to admit to. Just like my mother, I think my mother deep down knew there was some stuff going on. Especially that night when the bat flew out of the attic into her hair,
Ooh.
and my dad ended up killing this bat, and it was a huge bat. It was the biggest bat I've ever seen. And I remember helping him look for this box to put this bat into. We go back and the bat's gone. I mean, the bat was dead.
Mm.
So where did the bat go? So this is
Mystery
all.
bat.
This is all, and it's it could have flew back, and it wasn't it played dead or whatever. I've heard everything. I've heard there was a car's headlights going down the road. There was a light going across your room from the headlights. It was a tree outside banging against your wall. It was the pipes in the basement banging. That was a footsteps. I know. I was ruling all that stuff out at that time. I was 16 when we moved out of that house, so I know, I know the difference between a headlight and what I've
And a
seen.
bat.
Well, even the girl, even Alice, the night before we moved out, I seen it on the first day we moved in, and almost the next to the last day for 5 years. You figure I didn't see her at all. I've
Wow.
heard her. I've heard all type of. I mean, there are so many things, and you read the book. There's so much stuff in the book
Mhm.
that I can't explain. But seeing her, that's a whole different ballpark, So the first day, and then even the last day, and we knew that week we were moving out of that house. And I have said this before. You're terrified living there in that house, right? You're
Mhm.
terrified, but I got to like I didn't want to leave her.
Mhm.
It's like you get this connection. Like I didn't want to leave her, and so I'm kind of like thinking this last week. There's nothing happening. you know, Everything, the knocks, the pounding, this and that, nothing was happening. Not nothing. So I'm thinking, okay, you're gonna play me like this, huh? We're leaving
The
and
silent
nothing, right?
treatment. Yeah.
I'm finally laying in bed. I'm about to doze off, and I look and I see her at the very end of my bed. I mean, I've never seen her that close before. It was like looking at, if I could explain that, looking back, it was like a hologram that you're looking at a young
Because you
girl.
can kind of see through
She didn't
her.
say a doggone word, and I didn't say nothing back. Just like a stare down. And it happened like maybe 5 seconds, maybe. It was like really quick and gone. And that was it. That's the last time. Uh, so it's those things are really hard to, and I have people come on my show and how they have seen same type of a silhouette or not so much a shadow figure, but like
A
an actual
transparency.
transparent figure, like a
Mhm.
hologram. I was like kind of described it, and she was a young girl. So it's so hard, and I want to do all this history in this house, and I've got some. I'm blessed for what I've got, what I found so far, but I want to dig deeper, and so I finally got a hold of somebody in our city hall from downtown that gave me some stories from that area. So at
Yeah,
least I
and
have
you could even do a short film, searching for Alice or
right. Well, even when I did my book sighting, because this whole story happened, and the whole house happened in Warren, Ohio. People don't know where Warren's at. It's about 70 miles south of Cleveland and 30 miles northeast of Youngstown, northwest of Youngstown. So we're kind of like between Youngstown and Cleveland, Ohio. And I remember doing the book signing a couple years ago. It came in October, and I was honored because the historical society in the city of Warren uh, asked me if I wanted to sell my book at the Ghost Walk, and I'm like, great, man. I mean, it's like
it's like,
we get
yeah.
like 10,000 people go through those 3 days, through Halloween weekend. It's like, wow, this is sweet. While I'm sitting there, it was really a moving moment because in the book I'm talking about the courthouse square, the courthouse.
Mhm.
I'm talking about the log
The
cabin.
river. Yeah.
I'm talking about the river. So everything. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at what's in my book. I'm there at the courthouse. I'm there at the corner. So I'm like, where did this book,
Deja vu.
these stories take place? I said, right here. You look over there, man. It's like this is in my book.
Mhm.
So if you're from the area of even up in that area, I think you should pick the book up because it's so interesting on some of these landmarks that are in my book. And then having people come up to you and tell you their story.
Right.
That's from that area. So and then finding out things I didn't know. Like the cemetery that's down I thought it was on top of my tip of my head, Pioneer Cemetery uh, in Warren, and it is extremely haunted. Uh, so they used to take the ghost walk down a lot of these historic buildings built in the
Mhm.
1700s. They're taking them down here, and they used to walk through the cemetery. Well, they no longer do that because it's too active.
Oh, wow.
So they don't do that anymore. So I mean, it's so many, and then people walk up to me, and then uh, even the policeman at the doing the security. I told my wife, I said, I think he's looks like he's wanting to kick my butt, because he keeps giving that evil eyeball, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I says, he kind of make me worried, and then he starts walking up to me like he's gonna really kick my ass. And I'm looking at him, and he goes, that story in your book. I said, yeah, I know where that house is at, man. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he went into his story and
Oh, okay.
how he used to do patrols, or his at the time he was just a young guy, and his dad was the
The cop.
police chief, copper. I had listened to his story, and I was like, it was really interesting. But how somebody somewhere can connect with what you're saying. And I ended up selling out my books there, which I was very pleased with. And so yeah, but so much activity that happened in that area that I probably could do 3 books, but I want to do just 2, just close out with 2. And
At least that story.
that story, I'll tell you what, there's so many to say on that. And I'll give a little bit of a sneak preview of the next book, first chapter, going back to 1967, I think it was. And so we're going back 60 years. So starting it out, there's this railroad trestle that runs across the river.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm how I said in the book, I always get these messages from Alice would say, "Don't do that."
Mm-hmm.
And it would be very clear, very clear. Don't do that. Don't go. And I was like, what the hell, And I would go anyway. And
Don't tell me what to do. I'm gonna
So-
do what I want.
So here's the thing: you got a bridge that goes across the river where cars and pedestrians can walk across the sidewalk, right? Then a few 40 yards, 50 yards up the river, you have that trestle train trestle goes across the river. Why walk across the trestle with 2 bikes? I had my bike, and Joseph had his bike. So we're walking across this trestle, and it's probably about, I don't know, 75 to 100 yards across, and the river. And right below that trestle is a waterfall.
Oh.
So as you're on this trestle, it's kind of it was hot to me at the time. It was kind of cool, because you're looking at the river, you can hear the waterfall below you, and it was an active train track. And back then, the trains barreled through the city at 50, 70 mile an hour. I mean, they didn't go slow. So we're about almost halfway across the trestle, and Joseph was telling me, "How do you know there's no train going to come?" I said, "No, that's no, we're okay." And I'm holding my bike, trying to walk across this thing, and he's holding his bike, and I said, "Well, I'm just out of my thing. I didn't know if this is true or not." I said, "They say if you put your ear down to the track, you can hear the train coming."
Mm-hmm.
So I turned around, he's got his head down on that track. Well, I started laughing because keep in mind that track is burning hot from the rails from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, his whole side of his face is all red from him touching that. So I said, your face is beat red, and all of a sudden, I'm because I'm turning around looking at him. Now I can see the headlight of that train coming.
Oh, no.
And it is that rumble he's talking about. That's the
Mhm.
rumble.
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
feel
oh my
that
God,
vibration.
we got to run. So as you're if you ever try running on a train track with holding a bike, so you got these metal rails going both sides of the track.
They dip up and down.
Yeah, right. So I'm thinking we're not going to make it. You can't run back towards the train because it's already almost at the trestle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's how you can see the engine is kind of like, oh no, and still remember the light was so bright, and the horn was like ear piercing. And I said and this voice in my head was telling me, jump, and I yelled, jump, and we both threw I remember seeing his bike and my bike were both, so I jumped. Remember falling into the river, and that's the last thing I remember. The next thing you know, I'm laying on my back on the side of the shore where it's all muddy, uh, and I'm probably maybe 30 yards, 40 yards from that waterfall. I didn't go over the waterfall, so I happen to see my handlebar sticking up out of the water near me. I'm like, oh, there's my bike,
Oh,
But
wow.
I don't know where Joseph's at.
Right? Did he
Number
go
one, number
over?
one, I know he can't swim. So did I just? I'm thinking about all these things in my head that I just killed
Mhm.
Joseph because I talked him into doing this,
Doing it and then
and then
end up in the water and he
after I'm
can't
laying there thinking,
swim.
how am I going to explain this? I'm thinking this is all going through my head. Like, how am I explain to his mother that we were rocks, and then he jumped and I jumped, and I survived and he didn't.
Mhm.
Next thing I know, I hear, "You're such an ass, man!" I can see him coming up around the bushes, and he was covered with mud and muck and trees and branches sticking off his hair, and he was never so mad at me. I mean, I remember, and he lost his bike, and he was. I remember him, the last thing I remember him walking up the riverbank, and I just laid my head back. I'm half in the water and half out, and I'm looking up the sky. How beautiful the sky is, like a kaleidoscope sky, like a candy cotton color sky, and that's how that chapter was going to where I shouldn't have went. I was told not to go before I got on it by her. I was told to jump by her.
Mhm.
And what happened between me going to that river and the riverbank? I don't remember swimming to the side.
Like, how did you get there? How did you
How did I
survive
get
it?
there?
How
How did I
did you
survive
rescue
that?
your bike?
How did I rescue the I mean, all that. I mean, you could go on and on about, coincidences. Well,
Mhm.
I've never been a coincidence person. Always says stuff happens for a reason. I always will believe that. There's a reason why that happened. It
Now,
wasn't a
with
coincidence.
everything that you've been through, now, if you could speak to your younger self during those experiences, what would you say to Lee?
I really, I don't know. I mean, because it's a different time. So if I was to say anything like, I don't know. That's a good question. You stumped me. I don't know what I would say to him. I was like, I would probably say, listen to your guardian angel, because so many times I was warned. So many times I was warned, and I was warned not to go to Kent or to New York. I was warned not to get on that train. I was warned not to go to this party we were shot at. I was warned not to cross that trestle. I
Mhm.
mean, but every single time I go against these warnings, and so I'd probably say listen to those
Stop being
warnings.
stubborn, and
Yeah,
somebody's telling you something for a reason. Listen.
right, right, right. So I can't say that ghosts don't exist. I can't say it's all a bunch of malarkey, because that's not right. Uh, it's but I do know when my sister finally seen her ghost, and we thought, and I was a little pissed at the time because I thought uh, she wasn't getting it right, because Alice was about 12 years old, 10 or 12.
Mhm.
This
She kept
goes,
seeing a woman.
she's seen a young woman. I'm like, no, man, damn, think this through. She was a young girl. I'm getting mad, you know.
Mhm.
It turns out, as you could read a book, there's more than one spirit in the house. Uh, when I got back to the house, and it's going to come out. Yeah, the second book. It's really good because uh, that one day when I got a phone call from my sister. I don't want to go too much in the second book, but uh, it sent chills up my spine. It really did because when she said she's back
Oh.
outside, and then all of her power goes out in her house. I look back on that stuff, man. It's like, uh, and I can relate to almost every single person that's on my show. That's why I say, when they start out with saying, "Well, you're gonna think I'm crazy," no, I'm not. No, no, I'm not. There's somebody out there, even if I can't relate in a way, somebody out there can. I've never seen a UFO, so I really can't say I can relate because I've seen UFOs. I never have. Never seen an alien.
Mhm.
Maybe at one time with the girl, but I will leave it at that. But the I can't say what you're saying is wrong. I mean, it's not right. And same thing with people that are you want to stereotype somebody that because they're schizophrenic
Mhm.
or mental disorders or whatever. Uh, let's say they are okay, and they have a story. Are you going to say you're going to say no? It didn't happen because they're like that. What if they?
Right.
What if they did are experiencing something that you're just writing off?
Mhm.
And so I got a
And
problem
that
with
happens, and,
you
like,
know.
that's, one of those Occam razor moments because it's the evidence that proves on which side of the razor you end up on. And it's hard if there's challenges where there's some sort of mental disorder along with something paranormal. It's hard
Mhm.
to distinguish between the two. It's not black or white, you know. And they could have a mental disorder and still be experiencing something. Like you don't know.
Even in Catholic Church, if they do an exorcism, they're going to rule out that anyway.
Oh yeah, that's
The
part of the tenement. The
And I can understand to a point, because you would have to have some type of medical background
Mhm.
if this pattern's persisting, you
Yeah, they
know.
have to check and make sure there's nothing physically like wrong with you that could cause some of the things that you're experiencing. And then they also require some sort of psychological evaluation before they'll even consider it for exorcism.
I've always debunked myself when we run into do like an investigation of a house or something, You always want to debunk that anyway. You want to
Mhm.
debunk
Yeah, I agree.
anything that's, I think I get that from that house I lived in because I was trying to debunk. I mean, I'm trying to tell my mother that, and I even Tommy, it's in the book, my mother's boyfriend. I'm telling him, I'm debunking it, man. I mean,
Hmm.
I know what a car's headlight going across your room
Yeah, it's gonna look
looks like.
like it's
You
not
know,
what I saw. I know what.
yeah.
Now,
You
going along the same lines, like, what do you hope readers who have had similar experiences that you have can take from your book?
I hope that they can relate to what I'm trying to say, uh, that there are, things that out there to happen, you know, that it's not made up. It's not, something I'm trying to make money off of. Of course, I'm not making tons of money off of it. So it's just like it's not that. If I got into all this stuff for the money, I would have got out a long time ago, including podcasting. There's no you're not Joe Rogan's on there, man. I mean, we all do the same thing. We're all trying
Mhm.
to invest in our equipment. We invest in our time. We invest in our finding our guests. I mean, you might be a little different with you because you have a organization you're working with, but but still, you're on here. You do a lot of work. You do a lot of stuff. I know what you do. So I know it's a lot. You're helping people out, like myself and other authors. Uh, it's a big thing what you're doing, and so I would say, just stay true to what you believe in. Uh, don't buckle under peer pressure. Be who you are, and be proud of who you are.
Well,
And
thank you. That's good
I'll,
advice.
right,
I agree with that. Like, and we've discussed it. I think on your podcast a little bit. Like, I have been doing phenomenally better that I put down the mask that I was trying to be and stop doing that and just be me.
just
The
be
wild
you.
and crazy, like what the
Just be
heck's
you. Don't
happening at
Yeah.
any
Just be you, man.
moment, me.
Yeah.
And people seem to like it a lot more than
I've been getting a lot of these comments. I first started out. You're too melancholy. Don't use too. Ba da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. And you got to. Hey, how you doing? And welcome to Ghost in the Valley podcast. I'm your host, Al Cooley. That's not me, man.
no, that's
My
not.
thing is hello. How you doing? I mean, I'm
How
not
you
going. I can't be
doing?
somebody I'm not. You know.
Right?
And so it was kind of funny last week band practice show. They're talking about, okay, how about we all just stop playing, just how the drums doing it, do a beat, and we all put our instruments down. We just go out there and we start jamming. I start dancing. That ain't me, man. I'm gonna probably break a hip or something, and So no, I just say just be who you are. Don't worry about it. Uh, live life, have fun.
Exactly.
You're only on this
Like, it's
planet for
took
so long.
me almost 50 years to come to that conclusion. And that's what I tell everybody. Live life, man. Enjoy, take those
Hmm.
adventures, the risks, have the stories to tell,
One
future
thing
generations.
I like to be on Facebook, and I mean, there's so much different avenues with the social media on promoting the book, promoting your podcast, promoting your events. It's such a big blessing from what I did back in the 60s, 70s, even the 90s. Uh, trying to when I had my own video production company, I had to go up by foot, man, and and call newspapers and all this
Right?
other stuff, But now it's so great, but then again, it's not. It's so bad. It's like, AI is taking over. AI is kind of you don't know what's true or what's not true. So and so died today. Oh my God, the wife, so and so they oh man, she ends up telling like five or six of her friends. I found out it was a fake ABC News or a fake
BBC.
Newsweek or whatever, BBC or CNN, whatever you listen to. It was all fake, and they can make these things look like a really real
Right?
podcast or a news release. And I'm like, or you turn on your internet and you find somebody beating the crap out of somebody else or
Yeah.
somebody's.
I
It's
hate the
just
news. Like,
so
because
much
no
hatred.
matter what you watch on the news, it's filtered. And then on top of it, like, it's swinging one way or the other, whatever outlet owns what outlet, and it's like, it's totally like part of what's going on in the world, but it's not fully what's going on in the world.
Right, right, right. And I can
And
remember
it's like
back when I was a
you
kid,
can
we could
bog
have
yourself down with all the
right,
stuff on the news and make
right.
yourself miserable, or you can just try to live your life the best you can in the little bubble that you exist in. Like, that's what I've learned. I'm like,
I found it best just to turn the news off and read a book or
yeah, most
listen
definitely.
listen to an album or do something. I mean, uh, because you can get really depressed watching the news. Uh,
Watch a podcast.
watch a podcast or listen to a
Well,
podcast.
listen to a podcast, watch a podcast. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's changed a lot. Uh, and if I had this avenue to go down to when I was in that house, it'd been so much better than trying to go to the library. And what do you what do you kind of find on the library about ghosts? I mean, unless you look in the
Right.
encyclopedia, and then uh, my teacher,
It's
I had
like
that one crazy teacher. I mean, we didn't get to that part. I mean, Miss Finch was eccentric.
Miss
She
Pickle
hated me.
Face
She
herself.
pickle face. She hated me. I mean, absolutely hated me. So, how do you deal with a teacher where you're younger, and the teacher actually tells you they don't like you? So
I
when
had
you
one. I lived
that,
that life.
have you Wow. Okay, so
I had a teacher look right at me. It's like, I don't like you. I don't really want you here, but here we are. I was like,
right, right, right. Yeah, right. So it's tough when you're not only living in a haunted house, but you're dealing with all the pressures I was dealing with outside of that. So and then I had my grandmother. Thank God for my grandmother. So at one point I even told her, I can't believe you're my mother's mother because uh, and she said your mother loves you. I said I know she does, and she's proven that more and more times. And she came to my defense, But uh, just that one thing alone, even my father just passed away this past year, and he had Alzheimer's. But he would come over to the house, and he was this before my book came out, and he's reading my manuscript. Oh, this didn't happen. That didn't happen. I had to yank this. Get out of here, But then he would say, "Okay, okay, Dad. Then what happened when you were knocked on the landing and you got up looking around all around like you want to fight, like somebody knocked you down?"
mm-hmm.
Well, we're not going to talk about that,
Of
So,
course. Of
uh,
course, we're
uh,
not
uh,
going to talk about it.
so
Didn't happen.
I think they knew more than what they were letting on, but they're trying to be that protective parent to say there
Nothing
was nothing
bad is
there.
going on.
But there was a
Everything is
lot of stuff that
fine.
right,
Yep.
there was a lot of stuff that happened with them. Most 9 times out of 10, most of the stuff that happened at house happened when they were not home. And my grandmother pointed that out, that they pick and choose who they're going to act out with.
Mhm.
They can pick and choose who they want to attack or not attack. And
There's my ADHD. I just realized we're matching.
yeah,
We're wearing the same. My light's red, but it's the same blue. We're
oh
wearing
okay,
the same blue
yeah,
t-shirt.
yeah. My family call that, you're doing the Tom and Shirley, because my my mom and dad would always dress. My mother would dress my father. So when they got it, honest to God, when she put on a blue or red outfit, he was dressed in blue or red pants on the top. They were like,
Please tell me you're not wearing dark blue jeans and brown boots, because I'll freak out.
I am,
No
I
way.
am.
Look,
Well, not boots, but
brown boots,
I
dark
can't,
jeans.
I can't be, I can't bring my foot up. I got a slipper.
Well, usually I have my slippers on, but today I was messing around outside with goats, so
Yeah,
I still have my boots on. That's too funny.
it's
That's
been cold here
hilarious.
today. I mean, cold. Yeah,
Twinsies.
yeah,
Anyway, that's my
yeah.
ADHD chaos. Oh crap! It's already after the hour.
Well, I want to thank you for letting me come on and talk about my book, and thank you for reading the book and helping promote my book. That means a lot to me. It really does.
Well,
Uh,
thank you. Thank you for spending time and putting your baby in my hands. I know I fumbled through some sometimes, but I tried my best.
did a
A
great
lot of
job.
people, I think, really, really enjoyed your book, and I hopefully it'll get a couple more eyes at least to finish it, because there's so much more to offer that book. Like we just touched on, because it was just getting into the good story parts. Like when Bonnie enters the scene, which is the next chapter,
Oh yeah.
is when things really get kicking off.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
Bonnie is a character, a firecracker, and then you
Right,
get to
right.
learn about Miss Pickleface.
And Bonnie was my grandmother's ghost, so she came out of left field for me because I didn't know who the hell Bonnie was, but so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, somebody has a story that can relate to your story.
Hmm.
Somebody can relate to you from your podcast. Maybe they're doing something similar to what you're doing. So it's somebody out there that you can relate to, or your guests can relate to. You know, and I found out with some of your guests, a lot of your guests on here are fantastic,
Oh,
and I
they are. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
speaking of, let's check. We got busy chit chatting. We forgot the. Okay, there really is. Okay, there was Adam. It says, yes, that's why I've been doing all of this traveling for investigation for the last 5 years. I think we were, that was when we were talking about,
Oh yeah,
living
yeah,
and
yeah,
tell the stories.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything. And, oh, get off here. I don't want you here. Block! I block you. Banished to the nether realms, spammer.
Oops. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you get those too, so
Howie flushes the toilet every time he does that, but that kind of startles me every time I try to do it. So I'm not doing it.
yeah, you get that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's another thing that the people say. What do you think about your bad reviews, or what you got you only got 2 stars or 3 stars or whatever it is? It don't bother. I mean, if they read the book, I appreciate that. You
Mhm.
can't please everybody, and that's all I say. If you don't care for my podcast, go over and listen to this podcast, or go watch this one. You know, it's okay. I mean, I don't get offended by that. You know,
Oh, I don't either, because it's like you can't please
everybody.
words. You can't please 100% of people 100%
No,
of
you
the
can't.
time,
You can't. No.
and you can't have individualities if everybody's the same. So it's
Right.
okay to
You gotta have
disagree,
different. That's why I don't talk
and
politics on my show, because I know
I don't either. No.
there's both sides of that spectrum. So, and
Uh-huh.
I always, I know I might be wrong on this, but uh, I'm against people that come out and they uh, bash another candidate, or they bash this.
Exactly.
I think it's gonna hurt their career. I mean, if you're a musician, you might have, let's say one side or the other, the half side that you just bashed, you just lost their support,
Mhm.
or if you're doing, well, I have to do this. This is my voice. To each their own. But I always said, well, like my grandmother said, my grandma Cooley, not Grandma Pearl, uh, in Alabama. she always said that she would always ban politics and religion at that dinner table.
That was my mom. She would say
Yeah.
there was 3 things she would never talk about. That was politics, religion, or sex.
Oh, well, yeah, I forgot
You
about
couldn't
the
bring
sex.
up,
Yeah.
those 3 topics, or my mom would get so offended. Not in my house. You don't do it.
Right, right. You don't use any type of curse words or
Right.
because that was no, you don't do that. So yeah, different times, but
Yep. Completely different times. And before we end the show tonight, is there any links, or are you doing anything that people need to be aware of to come find you?
uh, you can go to authoralcooley.com and you can check out my book there. You can get the Amazon link there. You can go to Apple. You can buy it from Book Baby with my publisher. You can go on my website and go that route if you wish. You can check every single one of my episodes of Ghost in the Valley podcast on my website. The podcast is on every platform: Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all the way down the line. So yeah, that's the links, and
And definitely Amazon.com. Pick up Spencer's Ghost,
I appreciate
The
it. Thank you.
Guardian, Al Cooley. Read it before book 2 comes out this year, because I'm telling you, you're missing something. And before we end, we're going to bring on next month's spotlight author.
Wendy Coke. Yeah.
Wendy Cope, the choice. She's going to be the spotlight author for next month. So
She's a fantastic person. She sent you that book?
yep.
Okay, yeah. The first one I think was The Gray Resort. I've got all
Mhm.
3 of her books, and yeah, they're we're good friends on, and I'm glad you're doing that for her. She's a good person. Got a great podcast.
And
Great
so
authors.
far, really good story also.
Mm-hmm.
And really goes into it really fast. And again, there's like black-eyed people. Like
Yeah,
there's a theme,
right.
like right off the bat. So
Yeah.
yeah, make sure that you buy both those books, support those authors. That's what big reason that I'm doing this is, like, there's just not enough. There's too many things going on, and indie authors get washed up in the muck. So I just want to make sure I give them the opportunity they deserve. There's good stories out there that nobody gets the opportunity. And that's what this podcast is for.
Well, this author here really appreciates it. So
I
thank you.
appreciate you. I mean, it takes a lot to let somebody else handle your baby, and I appreciate your trust and your time. And I know it's been a little chaotic this month, but we got through it. We rocked it.
Mhm. Yeah, you did. What I want to do, I want to send you another copy, an autographed copy, with
Aw.
like a little poster or whatever's inside there, and the bookmark, and you can auction that off at your thing,
Oh, thank
at the
you.
Green Eggs Foundation.
I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes, if you don't know what he's talking about, I am the master of ceremonies for this year's Fright Night for the Green AIDS Foundation, which is a foundation nonprofit organization that are trying to get arts in the hands back in kids' hands, because they're being taken away from school. And the person that the foundation is named after was my nephew that passed away. He was a bass player. He played in a lot of the backwoods metal bands. He was a bass player. So his big passion was music and entertainment and like creative arts. So that's how it was created. So yeah, I'm taking up things for a raffle to help fund it, because they really want to get a facility, like a location, to be able to hold classes and things. And so check that out and be on the lookout for that. Thank you, Al, for reminding me.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I want to thank everybody as usual for watching. And as always, sweet dreams. Bye bye, guys.